Welcome to the modern jungle where the buildings are tall, the trains are fast, and everyone is too busy to notice you're drowning. In the middle of this concrete maze stands a traditional building, a strange relic of the past in a world that never stops moving. This is where we meet our girl Xu Youyan, looking like a total main character even while blending into the massive morning crowd. She's just another face in the sea of commuters, swiping her pass and disappearing into the depths of the subway station. The escalators are packed with people who look like they haven't slept since the 90s, all rushing to jobs they probably hate. Our poor heroine stands alone on the moving stairs, looking like she's lost in her own thoughts while the world rushes past her. She finally makes it to the elevator, her reflection in the glass showing a woman who is definitely going through it. She reaches out and presses the button for the plaza, probably wishing there was a button to just skip the rest of the day. The elevator is a cramped nightmare filled with rowdy guys shouting haha and bumping into everyone. Xu Youyan just stands there icy and stoic, trying her best not to snap at the idiots surrounding her. Finally, the elevator starts its climb, leaving the chaos of the underground behind. The numbers tick up slowly, agonizingly, as she prepares herself to face the real world. With a soft ding, she finally reaches the first floor and steps out into the light. She heads toward a cozy-looking cafe, but don't let the peaceful greenery fool you, drama is brewing. Waiting out front is Shi Yue, who is currently glued to her phone and giving off major "I've been waiting forever" vibes. When Xu Youyan finally rolls up with a casual hi, Shi Yue is absolutely not having it. "Hi my ass, where were you?" She explodes, looking like she's about to tackle our girl right there on the sidewalk. She starts shaking Xu Youyan, screaming about how she needs to stop disappearing and stop bottling up all her problems. "Open up about your troubles, don't bottle them up." Shi Yue lectures, her voice echoing off the cafe walls. They start walking together and Xu Youyan tries to play it cool, asking if she really looks like someone who hides things. Shi Yue doesn't miss a beat, snapping back, "You do actually. Like you can't admit defeat with your big ego." Suddenly, a phone dings in Xu Youyan's bag, cutting through their bickering. They both freeze, and Xu Youyan pulls out her phone to see a message that makes her heart drop. "Shi Yue, you're here already?" The message reads, and the blood completely drains from our heroine's face. Xu Youyan gulps, looking like she's just seen a ghost or remembered something she's been desperately trying to forget. Shi Yue narrows her eyes, realizing our girl is hiding something huge and demands an answer. Finally, the dam breaks and Xu Youyan admits the truth. "Now that I'm divorced and without a job." Wait, what? Our girl is jobless and single? She tries to laugh it off, claiming she's got nothing to worry about and even went on a long holiday to Iceland. But Shi Yue is a top-tier bestie and immediately calls her out. "Why didn't you share any photos in the group chat?" They head into the cafe, greeted by a cute little robot waiter, but the atmosphere is still heavy. Xu Youyan confesses that her resignation is a total secret because she doesn't want to upset her dad after her mom's recent passing. She's carrying all this grief and failure on her shoulders just to protect her family's feelings. Even as she tries to put on a smug, chibai face, you can tell she's struggling to keep it all together. But just as they're settling in, Shi Yue's eyes go wide as she spots someone across the room. "Over here," she calls out, waving enthusiastically to a newcomer. Xu Youyan turns around, her stomach probably doing backflips as Shi Yue says, "It's been a while since you've met Xu Youyan, right?" A mysterious, beautiful woman approaches with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "Yeah, it's been a while," she says, her voice dripping with history. She leans in dangerously close to Xu Youyan, the tension between them thick enough to cut with a knife. Who is this woman and what kind of chaotic past do they share? We're left hanging as the screen fades to black. "You're pretty fast," one says as they stroll through the city. It's been a minute since they've seen Xu Youyan, hasn't it? Our stoic blue-haired beauty Jiangyun simply replies with a quiet "yeah." "It's been a while," she repeats, the weight of those words hanging heavy in the air. As they walk together, there's a tension you could cut with a butter knife. "Yes, let's head inside," Jiangyun says, trying to keep her cool. But as they enter the cafe, the younger girl in the green vest can't help but shoot a suspicious glare at the woman trailing behind them. The local crew spots them immediately. "Shi Yue, lil birdie, you guys are finally here." A little robot waiter zips past as the group waves them up. "Took you long enough," the friends cheer. But one guy stops mid-sentence, squinting at the newcomer. "Who's that at the back?" But all eyes are on the gorgeous woman in the green coat who's greeting everyone with a saint-like smile. The younger girl introduces her. It's Shi Yue. The table erupts. "Lil Shi Yue, you've grown so much. When did you return?" Our tall beauty explains she just got back and her new job is already a massive headache. She's all smiles for the group, but there's a specific person she's watching. One of the guys starts handing out handmade gifts to the group. While everyone is distracted, the little sister laughs at Jiangyun. "Are you a kid?" But Shi Yue ignores the noise, leaning in close to Jiangyun with a look that says everything. "This one's for you," she whispers, pulling out a special green box. She places the gift in Jiangyun's hand. Jiangyun is frozen, her eyes wide as she stares at the box. There's a silent, electric moment between them. "Thanks," Jiangyun finally manages to choke out. But as the box changes hands, their fingers linger. A soft, intentional touch that makes Jiangyun's heart skip a beat. Jiangyun quickly shoves the gift into her bag, acting like nothing happened while the others ask if Shi Yue wants juice or coffee. She takes a sip of her drink, but the mask is slipping. Suddenly, she can't take it anymore. She stands up and walks away. Once she's alone in the hallway, the composure shatters. Ugh, she groans, looking like she's about to overheat. She leans against the wall, clutching her stomach as if she's in physical pain from the embarrassment. She grips the sink so hard it practically cracks. "That little jerk," she hisses, her face turning a bright, unmistakable shade of red. "Who did you just call a little jerk?" a voice demands. Xu Youyan spins around to see the younger sister standing there, looking absolutely done with the drama. "What do you want?" Xu Youyan snaps. The sister doesn't blink. "Did something happen between you and my sister?" She's onto them. As the water splashes in the sink, Xu Youyan looks her dead in the eye. "Did she tell you?" The sister's jaw drops. "Did you two really?" Xu Youyan doesn't hold back. "We did it," she confesses, leaving the sister and us absolutely reeling. The sun sets over the futuristic cityscape as our group hangs out at a high-end cafe. It turns out one of them is a total genius. "You've already completed your master's degree at 23? One friend asks in utter disbelief. Our girl casually explains that she basically speedran her entire education, skipping grades and finishing a combined degree a year earlier than everyone else. The table is buzzing with energy, and even the little robot waiter is working hard while they talk shop. For a pro like her, finding a job was a total piece of cake. But the conversation quickly shifts from career goals to the juicy stuff. "Are you dating anyone?" they press, dying for some tea. Everyone leans in, waiting for a name. That's when she drops the ultimate bombshell. "No, but I like older women." The table goes absolutely wild. One girl immediately jumps on the opportunity, joking that the stars have aligned since she just became single. As the group laughs and cheers, our heroine takes a moment to step away from the noise, checking on her sister. She lets out a quiet breath, whispering to herself, "We did it." But the peaceful vibes don't last long. In the restroom, the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. "Xu Youyan, what did you say?" her companion demands, cornering her. Our girl doesn't even blink, coolly replying that she said exactly what the other heard. Her sister is clearly worried, telling her she doesn't want her going down the wrong path just because she's lonely after her divorce. She's terrified that Xu Youyan is just looking for a distraction. But our girl just offers a small, weary smile. "Relax," she says, "this was all just an accident." To understand how we got to this point, we have to look back at the legend of director Xu Youyan. She wasn't just a worker, she was a titan of the gaming industry. She spent her youth glued to the screen, pouring her soul into the trending game's squall. She lived and breathed code, leading her team through endless nights of development. After a sea of coffee and sleepless nights, she finally created the ultimate masterpiece, a holographic sandbox game called Universal Reconstruction. When she first stepped into that digital world, it was like seeing heaven. The stars and the vastness were her everything. Standing in a field of golden grass, she felt a level of pure joy she couldn't describe. The world quickly took notice, and she was soon standing in front of crowds of admirers. The game was a revolution, featuring hyper-realistic combat and environments that felt more real than reality. It held the top spot for nearly 2 years, breaking every sales record in the book. The accolades poured in from every direction. "Congratulations, Xu Youyan," her boss beams, proud of his star creator. She was the queen of the industry, toasted by everyone who mattered. But just as she reached the peak, her personal life began to crumble. Right as she was pouring all her energy into the massive 5-year anniversary update, she got the call no one wants to receive. Her mother was terminally ill. Her world shifted from bright stages to cold, clinical hospital rooms. She was forced to balance the most important launch of her career with her mother's final days. Even at her mother's bedside, she was on video calls, managing bugs and final issues. Her team could see the toll it was taking. "All right, you've all worked hard, let's end the meeting here," she says, her eyes heavy with exhaustion. Her colleagues could see the cracks forming in her composure. They urged her to rest, but she could only offer a hollow, weary "yeah" as she continued to push herself to the absolute limit. Director Xu puts on a brave face, telling her team to end the meeting and get some rest. Her staff clearly worries about her, but she just brushes it off with a tired smile, asking if they have something else to say. "Rest soon, Director Xu," they call out. But we can see the toll this is taking on her as they watch her go. She barely manages a weary yes before heading out to face her real nightmare. Our girl walks through the sterile, cold hospital hallways, looking like a ghost of her former self. She reaches for the door handle, her hand trembling slightly. As she pushes it open, the sound of a ragged sob breaks the silence. She finds her father collapsed in grief over her mother's bedside, the weight of the world finally crushing him. He's absolutely devastated, tears streaming down his face as he mourns the woman he loves. Our girl can only watch from the doorway, her heart shattering into a million pieces. She leans against the wall, hiding her own tears as she listens to her father's pain. Her mind drifts back to how things used to be when she was just a developer. She never expected that one single night would change her entire life forever. Back in that quiet hospital room, the morning sun felt like a cruel joke. Her mother was still awake then, weak but smiling, and admitted she was craving the Gyobian soup our girl loved as a child. Even through an oxygen mask, her mother looked so peaceful and full of love. Our girl forced a smile, promising, "Sure, I'll buy one for you right away." She ran like her life depended on it, her heart racing as she hurried through the streets. She burst back into the room, gasping for air, clutching the food she hoped would bring her mother a moment of joy. "There, hero," she panted, but then she saw her mother's face. Her mother looked at her one last time, a gentle smile on her lips, and whispered for her to come closer. The soup sat untouched on the table, a cold reminder of a final wish that went unfulfilled. The room felt emptier than it ever had before. Her father was a shell of a man, weeping uncontrollably while the doctors looked on in silence. But the tragedy wasn't over. The stress becomes too much and her father suddenly clutches his chest, gasping for air as he collapses. "Dad," our girl screams, catching him as he falls while the machines around them begin to wail. The world seems to glitch and blur around her. Her laptop and phone buzzing with a chaotic energy as her personal life and work collide in the worst way possible. At the funeral, her mother's smiling portrait is the only bright thing in a sea of black. Family friends try to comfort her, telling her it's been hard and to spend more time with her father. Our girl just nods solemnly, promising she will. She finds her father sitting alone on the stairs, looking completely lost. He tells her he'd rather stay out there to be near her mother's spirit. She sits beside him, offering to get him a coat as the air turns cold. He tells her to take care of herself too, not wanting her to get sick again. She steps inside to grab the coat, but her phone starts vibrating incessantly. She answers, sensing another disaster is about to strike. Her assistant's voice is frantic on the other end. "Director Xu, the company's in trouble." The train pulls into the station, but for our girl, this is no ordinary commute. A group of stern-faced officers are already waiting on the platform, and they aren't there to welcome her home. "Xu Youyan, please cooperate with our investigation," they demand, cornering her before she can even step off the stairs. Nearby, the public is losing their minds over a massive scandal breaking on every screen in the city. The news reports are absolutely grim, showing patients in deep comas with foam at their mouths. Apparently, a famous immersive holographic game called Rebuild the Universe is literally frying people's nerves, leaving players twitching in hospital beds. Are they trying to kill someone? The crowd whispers in a panic, realizing the game they loved has turned into a nightmare. Behind the scenes at the tech company, the developers are losing control as the system's limits skyrocket, and they can't even track the accounts involved. The manager, Lao Wang, is sweating bullets when his assistant delivers the worst news possible. The big boss, Mr. Liu, is looking for him. A hand drops heavily on Wang's shoulder. It's Mr. Liu, wearing a smile that feels more like a death sentence. Comments are flying, with everyone wondering why our girl was hauled off by the cops, and complaining that their virtual bank accounts have been drained. The hashtags are brutal, calling for Xu Youyan to pay for her crimes as photos of her arrest go viral. 2 weeks pass in a flash, and Xu Youyan finally steps out of the police station looking exhausted. Her legal team is waiting, but they don't have a welcome home party planned. "The board of directors is waiting for you at the company," they tell her coldly. She heads straight to the squalid quarters, a glass fortress that feels more like a prison today. As she walks through the lobby, the employees can't stop whispering, wondering how she got released so soon and what kind of trouble she's bringing with her. She swipes her access card one last time and enters the boardroom with her head held high despite the glares. She stands alone before a panel of greedy directors who have already decided her fate. Mr. Liu greets her with fake concern, saying, "Youyan, you've been working hard lately." But the mask slips immediately. He demands she surrender all her shares and leave the company to protect their reputation. When she tries to ask if they've even passed the project proposal that caused all this, he shuts her down instantly. "This is not something you can ask about," he snaps. He acts like he's doing her a massive favor by letting her walk away without more charges. Our poor heroine realizes she's been played. They're making her the scapegoat for the entire disaster, painting her as a coward to save their own skins. They force her to sign away her life's work just to protect the company's bottom line. Broken and humiliated, she wanders through the city at night, and finally returns home, hoping for just one person to be on her side. She sees her partner, Xu Youyan, standing by the window with their dog. "Xu Youyan, did Auntie stay for dinner?" she asks, trying to find a shred of normalcy. But the vibe is ice cold. Xu Youyan turns around, her expression completely detached, and drops the ultimate bombshell. "Youyan, let's break up." Talk about a bad day getting a whole lot worse. "Youyan," Youyan calls out, but the atmosphere in the room is heavy enough to crush a mountain. Without even turning around, Youyan drops the ultimate relationship nuke. "Youyan, let's break up." Our girl is frozen as Youyan explains she's been thinking about this for a long time, but didn't want to be a burden while Youyan's mother was sick. Talk about a "it's not you, it's me" speech, but with way more emotional damage. Xu Youyan isn't just leaving, she's already got a friend ready to buy the house so she can get her cash and vanish. "Stop delaying it, Youyan," she snaps, desperate for the money to head abroad next week. After all that history, Youyan just lets out a quiet, "okay." Flash forward, and Youyan is catching up with her friend, who is absolutely losing her mind over the news. "She's urging you to sell the house after everything you've been through." Her friend screams, ready to throw hands. Our girl admits she moved to the suburbs and traded her life for work, neglecting Xu Youyan in the process. When asked why they really called it quits, Xu Youyan just sighs. I feel like I don't know what love is anymore, she confesses, looking completely drained. She realizes Xu Youyan felt their relationship had become a passionless habit, like brushing your teeth. Xu Youyan chose her career over her heart, and in this AI-driven age, she wonders if she even had a choice. But wait, the conversation takes a wild turn when the friend hears about an accident involving her own sister. What the hell am I listening to? The friend cries out, clutching her head in pure chaos. Xu Youyan tries to explain that she only met this sister once and the rest of the time, well, it didn't really count as a meeting. When the phrase dark compartment comes up, the friend's imagination goes into overdrive. You harmed my sister in a place like that, are you even human? She shrieks. She literally lunges at Xu Yuan's throat in a fit of sisterly rage. Stop, listen to me quietly, Xu Yuyan wheezes, promising she'll actually be a good influence on the sister. Cut to the office where the topic shifts from real-life drama to digital romance, a love game. Xu Yuyan is back in her element, staring at character designs on her tablet. Her colleague Sister Lai saunters in with all the boss energy in the world, talking about market cycles and sandbox games. She reminds Xu Yuyan about her idea for a holographic love game. Love is always a necessity for mankind, Lai says, leaning in close. She winks, telling Xu Yuyan the project team is almost ready and this is going to be big. Xu Yuyan agrees, though she looks like she needs a year-long nap. I mean, look at our girl's current state. She's got unwashed hair, a messy bun, and a cheap sweatshirt covered in dog hair. Can I really play a love game in this state? She wonders, staring at her own reflection. Sister Lai mentions she's hired an assistant to help out and suggests a video conference if anything happens. By the way, Lai adds with a smirk, go to the dark compartment to play. It'll help you remember what love feels like. Xu Yuyan just raises an eyebrow, ready to dive back into the world of romance, even if it's just pixels. Okay, Tilda, she says, raising an eyebrow at the suggestion to visit the dark compartment to find love again. Our girl looks a bit nervous as she prepares to dive into the virtual world, her finger hovering over the interface as she starts a whole body scan. A sharp beep echoes as the system maps her face. This is Dark Room, a high-tech dating app that uses holographic immersion to make everything feel real. As her digital avatar forms, she watches the transformation with wide eyes. Combined with a somatosensory chip, this app promises the ultimate experience, whatever that means. Testing out the hardware, she pokes her virtual arm and mutters, oh, the touch is not bad. She decides to customize her look so no one from her real life can recognize her, scrolling through different facial features, hairstyles, and eyes to create her perfect undercover persona. Now for the filters. She sets her gender and age, but when it comes to hobbies like gaming and traveling, she tells herself not to get too excited just yet. Her hand pauses as she looks at the results. Why are they all kids? She complains, realizing the average age of users is only 26. She keeps scrolling, looking for someone on her level. Forget it, she sighs, middle-aged is middle-aged. We can still talk despite the age gap. She sits alone in the digital void, waiting for a bite. Suddenly, her world explodes with sound. What? She screams as a million notifications start screaming at her, creating a literal wall of blue screens. Are there really this many women in their 30s looking for the same thing? She asks, completely overwhelmed. She starts to wonder if she drastically underestimated how thirsty the middle-aged crowd really is. To narrow it down, she decides to add sports to her tags and dives back into the menu. She selects dating roleplay and adventure, thinking a movie experience might be fun. With 12 tags selected, she settles back to wait. A virtual envelope appears and she taps it to start the date. The scene shifts instantly to a snowy mountain peak and she shouts, nice. Our girl is living her best life, tearing through the snow in a red sports car while wearing tactical goggles. Her date is already trembling, asking, is it really that exciting? But our girl just laughs, didn't you say you've seen this? It's the best part. Sit tight, she commands with a smirk, while her date looks like she's about to see her life flash before her eyes. Things go from 0 to 100 real quick. Her date is screaming bloody murder as helicopters explode and bullets fly everywhere. Amidst the chaos of fire and crashing cars, her date wails, I only came here to date. It's a total action movie nightmare with cars flying off cliffs and explosions lighting up the sky. Cut back to reality and our poor heroine is slumped on her couch, looking like she's seen a ghost. I ran into an underage girl, and then another who literally vomited in the car, she groans. She knows the dates were bad, but she isn't prepared for what comes next as she hits play on a new message. A massive wall of text scrolls past her eyes, and she recoils in horror at the sheer amount of angry gibberish on the screen. The review is brutal, it's too fast. It screams, flashing back to her driving like a maniac while her dates clung to her for dear life, screaming for their mothers. It's a 459-word bad review, she mutters, looking absolutely defeated. She sips her wine, wondering if love has finally failed her for good. She takes a big gulp, trying to drown her sorrows. It's just that the car was going a little too fast. She justifies to herself, promising to slow down next time. Maybe. She stares at the ceiling, wondering how out of 8 billion people, not a single one can match her brain waves. No, I don't believe it, she says, hugging a pillow tight. There must be another way. she declares, deciding to pivot and try a classic romantic movie setting instead. She picks Before Sunrise, figuring a highbrow artistic film from the 90s will filter out the immature kids. To her surprise, someone replies almost instantly. A gorgeous avatar with purple hair and a stunning backless dress appears. Our girl is skeptical, thinking the image is a bit too familiar and exaggerated, but the vibe seems to fit the film. She chooses Sunset Boulevard as the location, and the simulation starts on a vintage train. A beautiful woman in a wide-brimmed hat sits staring out the window, and our girl gets a tingle down her spine, thinking, I have a feeling this date will be a success. She looks on with hope in her eyes as she approaches her mysterious new match. The atmosphere was gentle and splendid, and a pleasant feeling crept into my heart. At that moment, I knew I had chosen the perfect movie. Our girl looks across at her date, feeling like everything is finally going right. Back in the real world, her friend is losing it. Huh, come again, a T-Rex? She stammers, looking absolutely baffled. The green-haired girl tries to hold back her laughter, but it's a losing battle. Yes, it's exactly what you think, she giggles. Apparently, the fun the system referred to was randomly generated based on our heroine's actual interests. And what are those interests? Pure unadulterated chaos. I may like Jurassic Park, but it doesn't mean I want to experience it in the middle of my date. Our girl cries. Because of that prehistoric disaster, her trust points hit a new low, and she's forced to attend a mass matchmaking event just to fix her reputation. Her friend asks when her sister comes into the picture, and the answer is chilling, she already did. She did when? The girl asks, completely out of the loop. Cut to the next big event, the simulation of the Titanic. Our girl arrives in the plainest outfit imaginable because she spent all her money compensating for her previous simulation mishaps. It's the movie's newest and most expensive exterior, and the engineers really outdid themselves. To have such an event take place in a classic romance film is every player's dream. The classic 1912 vibes are everywhere as the crowd gathers on deck. The system announces that the ship is about to depart, wishing everyone true love at the end of the journey. Our girl takes her seat, praying she can finally regain those trust points after this. Suddenly, a chair slides back with a loud clack. Our heroine looks up to see a smiling blonde guy. Nice to meet you, he chirps, looking way too energetic for her mood. They sit down and the 10-minute timer starts ticking. He immediately goes for the weirdest compliment ever. Your hands are really pretty, miss. Were they modeled from your real ones? Our girl just stares at him, her done with this meter hitting max capacity. He keeps rambling about how these events make him feel exposed and how it was a mistake to look for love here. She just sips her drink, tuning him out completely. She thought she could just adapt and get her points, but this robotic push and pull between strangers is soul-crushing. Suddenly, a new voice breaks the boredom. So what do you like? Our girl's heart skips a beat as a stunning, silver-haired woman with fangs appears behind her. This seat has been empty for a while. Mind if I sit? She asks smoothly. Our girl practically begs her to stay. Please. They start talking about gaming, specifically a title called Universal Reconstruction. Finally, someone with taste. The woman asks for her username, noting that only a few regulars have ever made it into the Hall of Eminence. Our girl laughs it off, claiming she's just a casual player who doesn't spend money. But then the mystery woman leans in. Look at my nickname, she says with a smirk. Floating above her head is the name Plasma Cream Cake. Our girl is absolutely floored. Are you friends with me? You're also attending the mass matchmaking event too. It looks like this boring event just got a whole lot more interesting. I guarantee that you'll not want to leave, she purrs, her eyes locked onto our girl. Our blue-haired heroine is completely caught off guard, realizing this girl's username, Plasma Cream Cake, sounds way too familiar for comfort. She can't help but ask the obvious, do I know you? Turns out this silver-haired vampire has been stalking our girl's date invitations for a while now. She's even added our heroine to a special following list, just to make sure she never misses a post. Our girl starts to wonder if this is some elaborate revenge plot, but the stranger claims she's just looking for a partner for a high-stakes adventure quest. She needs someone bold, and our heroine definitely fits the bill. My only worry is if you're a coward, the silver-haired girl taunts, her fangs peeking out in a devilish grin. Our girl isn't one to back down from a challenge, especially when there's a massive reward on the line. The mystery woman offers a cool $50K to help her unlock an achievement. But our girl, ever the negotiator, waits until the very last second of the timer to double the stakes. $100K, she demands just as the clock hits 0. The silver-haired whale is actually impressed by the audacity. She hits the I favor you button, and suddenly the world around them begins to fracture. A massive lightning strike tears through the sky as they are transported into a simulation. They find themselves standing on the deck of a massive ship caught in the middle of a violent, crashing storm. As the boat rocks and waves threaten to swallow them whole, they grip each other's hands tightly. How should I prepare myself? Our girl asks, looking out at the chaos. The silver-haired beauty just smiles through the rain and falling debris. Just make sure you have the courage. She yells over the roar of the ocean as the ship begins to tear apart around them. A massive explosion rocks the deck, and we're left wondering if they'll even survive the first 5 minutes of this date. To be continued. Under the glow of a blood-red moon, a silhouette stands tall on the rooftop, letting out a piercing howl that echoes through the night. Our girl looks absolutely menacing with those glowing yellow eyes, ready to claim the darkness as her own. Draped in a dramatic red cloak, she looks every bit the part of a legendary predator. She moves with a sudden whoosh, blurring through the air like a shadow. "Shut up, you're a dog, not a wolf," she snaps, immediately breaking the tension. It turns out our grand elder of the blood tribe is actually having a bit of a midlife crisis because she woke up to find her grave robbed and all her accumulated treasure gone. With her pockets empty, our poor heroine decides that tonight, for the first time in her long life, she's going to become a thief. She's heard the Han Dynasty is loaded, so she figures swiping a few trinkets and maybe finding a lovely maiden to snack on is the perfect plan. She leaps across the tiled roofs with the grace of a cat. Below her, the city is quiet, tucked away under the starlit sky. But she isn't the only one moving in the shadows. Voices whisper that they are finally in position. A mysterious woman waits inside, her silhouette framed by the warm glow of the room. "That ant will not escape this time," someone declares, clearly setting a trap for our unsuspecting vampire. The lady inside looks calm, almost as if she's expecting company. She adjusts her robes as the light of the lamp flickers. This silver-haired beauty is the perfect target, or so our girl thinks. The silk of her dress pools around her as she waits in the silence. High above, our heroine and her wolf companion dive toward their prize. They land silently on the roof, closing in for the kill. Suddenly, a delicious scent hits our girl's nose. Oh, something smells good, she thinks, her hunger getting the better of her. She creeps along the roof tiles, her boots making no sound. Inside, the silver-haired lady lets out a small, knowing smile. Our girl peeks through the open window, wondering why it's so easy, but she's too hungry to care. Quietly now, she whispers to herself, sneaking up right behind her prey. With her eyes glowing red and her fangs bared, she prepares to sink her teeth into that elegant neck. She leans in, the moment of truth finally here. But in a split second, the tables are turned as a hand shoots out and grabs her. Before she can blink, the maiden has her pinned down with a smirk. "What's this? A ravishing young woman," the lady teases, looking totally unfazed. She leans in close, her nose almost touching our heroines. "How did a lovely lady like yourself end up being an assailant, stealing girls away from their beds?" She pins our girl's arms back, her voice dripping with playfulness as she decides she has no choice but to punish the intruder. The silver-haired lady's eyes flash with a familiar spark. "Get up," she commands. Our girl's scary persona completely crumbles into a pouty chibai mess. "You even wore the vampire outfit behind my back?" The lady laughs, totally calling her out on her roleplay. It turns out they're just a couple on business trips who haven't seen each other in way too long. The lady leans in, looking deeply into her eyes, and gives her one strict rule: no biting. Our girl can only let out a muffled MMHM as they share a sweet, private moment. But the next morning, as our girl brushes her teeth and grumbles about being a little jerk, we see the truth: she got bitten anyway. It seems our grand elder lost this round to the real predator of the house. "Is this the scene you designed?" our girl asks, clinging for dear life as they plummet through the air. She's wrapped in the arms of this mysterious silver-haired beauty who just smirks and replies, "Not yet." Seriously, the audacity of this woman. She looks our heroine right in the eyes with a mischievous glint. She casually suggests they should just import part of the plot of the Titanic movie to spice things up. Our girl is staring at those fangs, wondering if she's about to be a snack or a co-star while the vampire talks about having bad taste. As the rain lashes down and the wind howls, our girl's eyes widen in disbelief. The vampire claims she just wanted to make the plot transition feel a little more natural. "Natural? Girl, there's a whole ship sinking into the abyss in the background. You are quite particular," our heroine mutters, but the vampire just tightens her grip around her waist. "Of course," she whispers, her voice dropping into a seductive purr. She leans in close, telling our girl it's only natural to be particular when she's dating someone like her before asking what she needs to prepare. Our girl is definitely feeling the heat, even in the middle of a literal disaster. The vampire doesn't need her to prepare a single thing. She stares intensely into our girl's eyes, demanding, "Don't change the appearance." Apparently, just sinking with a ship is too mediocre for her high standards. She looks over the edge of the railing and asks, "Are you ready?" Suddenly, a system alert pops up. They are about to enter an adventure-themed dating scene with a difficulty that hasn't even been acquired yet. Before she can even process the warning, they're jumping. So cold. Our girl screams as they slam into the freezing, churning water. They sink deep into the blue, bubbles trailing behind them as the weight of the ocean pulls them down. Underwater, the vampire looks completely unbothered, watching our heroine with those piercing red eyes. Our girl reaches out, her hand drifting through the water toward her companion. She can't believe how realistic the sensory chips are, feeling every drop of the icy sea. While the vampire swims with predatory grace, our girl is struggling, her body feeling like lead. She thinks the dark chamber tech is way better than the old universe Sims, but man, the realism is exhausting. They finally crawl onto the rocky shore, our girl coughing up water while the vampire looks like she didn't even break a sweat. "Follow me," the vampire commands, suddenly covering our girl's mouth to keep her silent. Our heroine notices there's a lot of small stuff happening behind the scenes, sensing the complexity of this world. As they trek through a dark, jagged cave, she thinks these gestures are a bit childish, but she's secretly excited to see a world built entirely around her interests. The vampire brings up an old flick called Doomsday Collapse, asking if she's seen it. Our girl has heard of it, but she wasn't expecting what comes next. Suddenly, a sleek, dark sports car appears in the middle of the wasteland. The vampire calls it a small test and explains she's the one editing the rhythm of the scene. She reaches for the door, her eyes locking onto our heroine. "Say one safety word if you can't stand it," she warns, looking totally in her element. Editing, our girl is completely lost. The vampire explains that in the darkroom, they can manipulate the film material to reach a difficulty level of 5-0. She's mashed together classic scenes from dozens of movies, disaster, fantasy, and even horror. Our girl can only stare in shock at the absolute madwoman standing in front of her, whispering a faint "oh tilde." "Get in the car," the vampire commands with a smirk. Our girl hops into the passenger seat, and with a surge of power, they blast off into the chaos. Our silver-haired vampire explains that she hasn't just created one scenario. She's edited together a chaotic mashup of disaster, fantasy, and horror movies. Our girl can only manage a stunned "oh tilde" as she tries to process the absolute madness she stepped into. But there's no time for a mental breakdown because the vampire boss lady tells her to get in the car immediately. Suddenly, the simulation shifts into high gear as massive boulders start raining down the mountainside. They're trapped on a narrow road with a massive truck barreling toward them. Our heroine grips the steering wheel for dear life, screaming that she can't slow down. As the car skids dangerously close to the cliffside, the vampire calmly mentions that this specific flick is called Doomsday Collapse. Our girl repeats the title in pure terror, realizing she's the lead actress in a literal apocalypse. Before she can even steer away, the rocks find their target. A massive boulder crushes the roof of the car in a shower of sparks. Our poor girl is pinned under the steering wheel, gasping for air as the world goes dark. But the nightmare isn't over, it's just changing channels. She wakes up and realizes she's been teleported into yet another movie, a 2034 thriller called Crazy Roller Coaster. The vampire smugly notes that when the holographic version of this film premiered, only 3 people in the entire audience managed not to puke. Right on cue, the guy in the seat in front of them starts projectile vomiting, and our girl looks like she's about to join him. She gets hit by the special effects and realizes this simulation is way too immersive for its own good. Besides stimulating the senses, it's just plain disgusting, she cries out. Then the ride comes to a screeching, sparking halt. They're stuck hanging at a terrifying height, and the passengers are starting to lose their minds. The vampire turns to her with a wicked glint in her eye, warning her that something even more frightening is about to happen. Since the coaster is dead in its tracks, they have to find a way back to the ground the hard way. The vampire hops out and starts walking along the narrow tracks like it's a Sunday stroll, telling our girl to hurry up and keep up. Our heroine is struggling, crawling on all fours and complaining that her doctor strictly forbade strenuous exercise. She's exhausted and sweating, but she refuses to give up because that 50,000 yuan balance is the only thing keeping her going. She's panting and near her limit when she looks up and sees something impossible. "Wings," she gasps, staring at the massive black appendages sprouting from the vampire's back. She yells out, "Are you kidding me?" The vampire just looks back dead serious and asks why she's so surprised. Our girl is losing it, demanding to know what kind of logic allows a vampire to have wings. To make matters even more confusing, the vampire reveals she also has a pointy demon tail. "Isn't this only for demons? Are you a demon or a vampire?" our heroine screams. The vampire just smiles and drops the ultimate hybrid bombshell, "I am a demon vampire." Our girl's face turns into a mask of pure chibi-fied rage at the sheer absurdity of it all. The vampire just tilts her head, asking what she's so angry about. She leans in close, asking our girl if she really thought she was going to fly down without being held. Before our heroine can protest, the vampire grabs her firmly and tells her to hold on tight. Our girl clings to her neck for dear life as they launch off the tracks, soaring through the sky as the simulation finally comes to a close. Before our heroine can even process the threat, she's suddenly released into a terrifying freefall. "Ah," she screams, but the demoness is just playing games, catching her in a firm embrace midair. "Hold on tight, Tilda," she whispers with a playful smirk as they glide through the sky. Our girl clings to her for dear life, her face buried in the silver-haired woman's neck as they soar. They suddenly find themselves flying through a chaotic dreamscape filled with giant floating teddy bears and colorful explosions. "Are you trying to scare me?" our girl yells, her heart hammering against her ribs. The silver-haired tease just giggles, asking, "Are you scared?" Hee Tilda before briefly letting go just to see our heroine panic. She quickly pulls her back into a tight, protective hug, laughing at the reaction she's getting. They land with a thud on top of a white SUV, the tension between them thicker than the clouds they just left behind. The silver-haired woman smirks, asking if our girl is hungry. She pops a piece of candy into our heroine's mouth, who's left dazed, wondering if it's just cotton candy or something far more intoxicating. "Pretty sweet," she admits, blushing furiously while the demoness watches her every move. But the romantic vibe shifts as they look out over a literal wasteland. The next scene is almost here, are you ready? The demoness asks, referencing a movie-like apocalypse from the year 2029 that she's apparently seen before. Meanwhile, back in reality, things are just as messy. A brown-haired girl is stressing out in the restroom, looking like she's about to have a total breakdown. Her friend walks in, noting they've been hiding out and talking in the stalls for over an hour now. They're trying to coordinate a dinner at a fancy restaurant, but the conversation quickly turns to more personal matters. The blue-haired woman leans in, looking exhausted as she tries to explain a good scenario for a response. She starts describing a dramatic scene involving a big storm, her eyes wide as she relives the memory. She describes a beast in the history of the earth, sounding like she's narrating a high-stakes romance novel. The imagery is intense, involving hands on a steering wheel and clothes being pulled, leaving her friend looking absolutely dizzy and confused. Bad experience? The brown-haired girl asks, trying to read her friend's complicated expression. The woman snaps back with a flustered rant. To do this with a child, you need to teach her what a wonderful experience it can be. She's a total mess, realizing the girl in question is far too young for this kind of intensity. As they head to the garage to pick up the car, the brown-haired girl tries to play matchmaker, pointing out that her sister is a rising star in the industry. But our blue-haired lady isn't having it. She is 11 years younger than me. She cries out, horrified at the suggestion. I even changed her diaper, how can we be together? She hits the elevator button, desperate to escape the conversation and her own confusing feelings. Young Ying is absolutely losing her mind over the latest gossip. Did you meet offline? She shrieks, her eyes nearly popping out of her head in disbelief. Our girl can only look away, a guilty blush creeping up her neck as she quietly confirms the scandal. She's completely obsessed and there's no turning back now. Rewinding to just one day ago, we see our heroine deep in her zone, working away on her tablet. She's been meticulously preparing, even hand-making a gift for this special encounter. I hope she likes this, she muses while getting herself ready, the anticipation building with every passing second. The big day finally arrives, and honey, our girl did not come to play. She looks like a literal goddess in a sleek white wrap dress as she enters the restaurant. She takes her seat and carefully places her handmade gift on the table, trying to maintain her composure. As the server pours the tea, she stares out the window, looking like a total main character waiting for her destiny. But then a voice breaks her trance, calling out, "Young lady." She looks up, expecting her mysterious date, but her jaw nearly hits the floor when she sees who's standing there. It's Xu Youyan, a girl from her past, waving at her with a smug, mischievous grin. Forgot me, she asks, leaning in with way too much confidence. Our heroine is literally buffering, her brain short-circuiting at the sight of her. Xu Youyan doesn't even wait for an invite before plopping down, reminding our girl of how they used to play together back in the day. Our heroine is stunned, the little kid she knew has grown up way too much. Why did I have to run into her today of all days? She panics, sweating bullets behind her elegant facade. Xu Youyan immediately clocks the high-effort look, teasingly asking if dressing up for a blind date is really that hard. She starts browsing the menu like she's the one on the date, completely ignoring our girl's annoyance. Our heroine tries to keep it together, telling the kid to stop judging her generation's love for blind dates. She desperately tries to bribe her to leave, promising a fancy dinner later if she'll just go away now. But Xu Youyan isn't going anywhere. She insists it's a blind date, so she can't possibly leave her sister alone. Why, our girl asks, but Xu Youyan just kicks her feet under the table. She claims she needs to stay to protect her sister from any strange people. Our heroine tries to play it cool, insisting her date is just a former colleague and not a stranger at all. Xu Youyan isn't buying the casual act for a second, noting how diligently her sister dressed up and even prepared a gift. It's just fate, our girl claims, trying to end the interrogation as she reaches for her bag. But the gossip won't stop until a message pings on her phone, "Where have you been?" She looks down at the screen, her heart skipping a beat. Across the table, Xu Youyan is also busy tapping away on her phone. A terrifying realization begins to dawn on our heroine as she looks from her screen back to the girl sitting right in front of her. Is the colleague she's been waiting for actually her childhood friend? Our girl stares blankly as the tension in the room reaches a boiling point. Across from her, the elegant Xu Youyan looks like she's about to snap. Suddenly, she slams her hands down and stands up, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. It's fun to play with people, she demands, her voice dripping with pure venom. She towers over our heroine, her eyes burning with a mix of betrayal and fury. Without waiting for an answer, she snatches up her bag and storms out of the restaurant. Our girl can only watch her go, desperately calling out her name, but it's too late. Left behind, our poor heroine clutches her head in frustration, wondering what kind of insane plot she stumbled into now. Meanwhile, Xu Youyan is fuming as she marches past the service robots, her mind racing with the absurdity of her situation. She can't wrap her head around the fact that she's involved with someone 11 years younger. To her, this little devil is still just a kid she watched grow up. She curses herself for ever taking someone with a ridiculous nickname like Plasma Cream Cake seriously. She makes it outside, but her dramatic exit hits a major snag when she realizes her car is still stuck in the restaurant's massive parking garage. Taking a taxi is way too expensive, so she's forced to consider a walk of shame back to the entrance. Just then, our girl catches up to her, holding out a green gift bag. "You dropped something," she says softly, trying to bridge the gap between them. The air is thick with unspoken words as they stand outside the shop, neither one willing to back down first. Eventually, they find themselves trapped in the ultimate nightmare, a parking queue with over 200 cars ahead of them. Stuck in the cramped cabin, our girl tries to break the ice, asking what she's thinking. Xu Youyan gives a tired, cynical smile, admitting that she probably accepted this whole situation far too quickly. In her head, the math just doesn't add up, the age gap is too wide, and the cost of trial and error in this relationship feels way too high. Later at a tense dinner with friends, the atmosphere isn't any better. Our girl is worried that her private thoughts might have been overheard, feeling like a total mess in front of the group. The conversation turns to missed connections at the coffee shop, making the awkwardness even more palpable. Fast forward, and Xu Yaoyun is stranded again, checking her phone as she realizes her parking spot is 2 kilometers away at a random hotel. She's stuck on an overpass with no taxis in sight and no drivers willing to pick up her order. To make matters worse, her back is absolutely killing her. She suspects the sensory chip used in their recent simulation was set way too high, pushing her body past its limits. Just as she's about to give up hope, a familiar face pulls up on a scooter. It's our girl, looking like a literal knight in a teal helmet. "Come down, I'll drive," she says with a confident smirk. Xu Yaoyun can't help but feel a spark of relief as she agrees to hop on. Even if their relationship is a chaotic mess of age gaps and misunderstandings, our girl isn't about to let her lady stay stranded in the middle of the night. Our girl pulls up on her scooter, looking like the coolest delivery driver you've ever seen. "Want a lift?" she asks with a playful smirk. But she isn't about to be a passenger on this tiny thing. "Get off, let me drive," she commands, taking charge like the boss she is. They swap places, though our girl looks way too happy about the new seating arrangement. As they zoom through the city streets, she finds it suspicious how quiet her passenger has become. Little does she know, the girl behind her is having a full-blown internal crisis because of how close they're sitting. "Just sit still." "Wait, this pose feels way too familiar," she thinks, her face turning a deep shade of crimson. Suddenly, bam, they hit a massive speed bump. Both of them let out a pained yelp as the impact rattles their bones. She clutches her waist, clearly feeling the sting of that unexpected jump. But the real problem's that bump just shoved them even tighter together. "Xu Yaoyuan, shut up," she snaps, her embarrassment reaching boiling point. "Don't lean on me, just sit tight," she grumbles, trying to regain her dignity. They're so distracted by the awkward tension that they fly right past the hotel entrance. "You can't turn around here, that's another 2 kilometers added to the trip." Our girl giggles, clearly enjoying the extra time. She leans in close, asking what Shi Yue was thinking about just now. She realizes this kid has seen through her completely from start to finish. "Sit down and stay put," she barks while our girl just whistles a happy tune, loving every second of the chaos. They finally arrive at the restaurant, and the proximity is still doing numbers on Shi's heart rate. "Oh, I know what you're thinking," the girl teases, earning another sharp "shut up" from the flustered driver. They pull up to Boe Akshuan, but she needs to perform some damage control. "I'm going in first, you wait and come in 5 minutes later," she whispers, desperate to make it look like they didn't arrive together. Our girl just smiles innocently and agrees. Inside, the squad is already gathered at the table. "Where have you been, and where's Sister Shi Yi? Didn't she come in your car?" the friends ask. Shi plays it cool, lying through her teeth that she didn't see anyone. But the plan goes up in flames the second our girl walks in with a huge, radiant smile. The friends immediately notice the timing. "Wait, did you two seriously not run into each other?" they ask suspiciously. Our girl, being the chaotic menace she is, drops the bomb. "Sister Yaoyun told me to wait 5 minutes before coming in." She literally spits out her drink in a spectacular fountain of shock. The friends are absolutely living for this drama, demanding to know what secret they're hiding. Panicking, she tries to backtrack. "I came by myself on an electric bike. She's lying because I ignored her at the door," she claims. Our girl just clasps her hands together and plays along, saying she was just getting revenge with a joke. "I have some gossip for you all," our girl says, successfully diverting the group's attention to her time studying abroad. She stays quiet, hiding behind her cup and stealing glances. Even though they're sitting far apart now, the air between them is still buzzing. Our girl flashes a bright, knowing smile. "Are you still angry about what happened at the door?" she wonders silently. She tries to focus on her drink, but her phone suddenly starts vibrating. She checks the screen with a puzzled look. Taking the call, she looks serious, but we all know her mind is still on the mess of dealing with the girl sitting across from her. Our girl stares at her phone in disbelief as a voice echoes back to her from the screen. The recording is damning, catching her talking about teaching a child a good experience. She realizes with horror that this is the exact conversation she had with Shi in the cafe's bathroom earlier that day. Sister Lu leans in with a mischievous glint in her eye, assuring her, "Don't worry, it's not a screen recording." She taps a link and shows our heroine a thread filled with anonymous reviews. Our girl's heart sinks as she sees the link. The comments are absolutely unhinged, calling the experience a sweet but not greasy cake and even mentioning an adult dungeon. One user even gives it a 5-star praise for extremely strong bed performance. It's clear someone is intentionally trying to mess with her and won't let the situation go. Overwhelmed by the sheer embarrassment of it all, our girl can only bury her face in her hands and groan. She hovers her finger over the delete button, wishing she could just erase the entire night from existence. I was probably really stimulated by Xu Youyan, she sighs, feeling like she's being played by a little child. She remembers the night before when Sister Lu barged in demanding to stay. Lu was hiding in our heroine's closet, explaining that she was avoiding some little punks who were acting like detectives outside her place. Sister Lu had warned her, if you want to experience life, find someone your age. Don't provoke today's young people. Our girl tries to convince herself it's fine, that she was just collecting material for her love game and can just change her account. It's just like being bitten by a puppy, she mutters, trying to regain her composure while getting ready to head out. She has much bigger fish to fry than a bruised ego. She's trying to investigate a vehicle incident, but the powerful Squall group has everyone terrified. Every connection she has is dodging her like she's a street rat, with one director claiming to be on a business trip just to avoid her. Her only hope now lies within the virtual world, as she logs into rebuilding the universe to find the truth. Suiting up in her high-tech gear, our heroine prepares to dive into the digital abyss where the rules of the real world don't apply. Our girl is finally logging into the system, ready to change her fate. She looks stunning in her sleek white suit, but don't let the beauty fool you, she's on a mission. She admits that the scariest thing in her life is actually having a name. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in her head. All right, explore another planet, she exclaims, her fingers flying across the holographic keyboard. She scoffs at a bad horizontal batch, clearly unimpressed with the technical hiccups. Her pod touches down on a desolate, rocky planet where the atmosphere is thick and heavy. Her suit starts beeping immediately, signaling a discovery. New substance detected. The screen flashes, it's helium-3, the perfect fuel for rebuilding the universe. But finding fuel isn't what's on her mind. She's thinking about someone she calls Lard Cake. This place reminds her of a very different setting. Suddenly, her mind drifts back to a lush bamboo forest. She remembers being pinned down by a silver-haired beauty who whispered, "You beg me." "No way," our girl had shouted, even though her heart was racing. The silver-haired woman looked at her with such longing, it was enough to make anyone melt. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated drama. "What am I thinking about?" she screams, shaking her head to clear those spicy memories. But reality comes crashing back with a thunderous boom. An S-class monster, a titan, appears out of the shadows with glowing red eyes. What's going on? She panics, realizing she's in way over her head. She's only a novice, so why is a high-level titan spawning here? Is it a game bug? She knows she has to get back to the spaceship, which is the only safe zone. Her low-level suit is too slow to run, so she activates her single teleport skill. The Titan charges up a massive energy blast in its maw. "Shit, freeloading is slow," she yells as the countdown ticks away. The monster fires a devastating beam of light. Thankfully, she managed to teleport just in time. Back inside the safety of her ship, she chugs some hemostatic medicine to recover from the shock. As she looks out the porthole, she notices the monster is lingering. Is it looking for something? She wonders. She realizes the truth, someone must have lured the beast here. And in this boring routine, she knows there's only one person capable of such a petty move. Lard Cake. Somebody brought it here. Our heroine grumbles, realizing that no one but that Lard Cake would stick to such a naive and boring routine. Even though she's still figuring out how this dark room works, she manages to trigger a massive blast to reshape the universe. As expected, my treasured sword isn't old yet, she smirks, watching the system deduct health from her enemies. But the game isn't making it easy on her as a purple monstrosity appears, forcing her to scramble across the rocks. She's fuming because she's low on ore and had to start all over again thanks to a certain someone's interference. Suddenly, the sky turns a menacing shade of red as an SS-level deputy leader named Xingtian shows up. The screen is filled with a blinding red light as a lethal attack heads straight for her. "I am dead," she whispers, finding herself in a strange white void. Outside, a massive red energy cloud continues to wreak havoc across the digital landscape. Our girl isn't impressed by these petty tactics, wondering if one night of this drama is really enough for her opponent. She finally calls it quits for the night and tosses her phone onto the nightstand. As she drifts off, she can't help but think of her rival as a little bunny. The next morning, our poor heroine is a literal ghost at work, yawning her head off. Her coworker takes one look at her and asks if she stayed up too late, and our girl can only manage a tired yes. But the nightmare isn't over when she logs back in. "What is this?" she screams as she falls right into a massive pit. She's stuck in a pile of mud, wondering what on earth is wrong with the youth of today. Someone actually spent an hour digging a hole or spent a fortune in krypton gold just to prank her with a mud trap. She checks the logs and sees a user named He visited her 3 times just to watch her fall with his own eyes. But then a terrifying thought hits her. She's using a completely new account, so how did Shi Yue find her so fast? She finally unearths a futuristic vehicle buried in the muck, but her triumph is short-lived. Checking the logs, she realizes the little brat Shi Yue has been watching her this whole time, literally logging in just to laugh at her struggle. "I'm obviously using a new number, how did he find me so quickly?" She wonders, looking absolutely stunning even in a bulky diving suit. She's only a level 5 novice without any pay-to-win Krypton gold gear, yet she's rocking a secondary thermal suit and heading straight for the danger zone. Her destination, the Grand Canyon, an advanced dungeon refresh point that supposedly reshapes the universe. This is the exact site of the infamous vehicle incident, and our heroine is walking right into the abyss. She updates her loading location and takes a leap of faith into the dark. The high-level players watching from the rim are losing their minds, calling her a fool. What kind of fool would jump in a second-degree suit? One mocks, she's just looking for death. As she plummets toward the glowing magma, our girl reveals a secret. The legendary equipment everyone hunts for down here is actually a lie she invented herself. The monster at the bottom isn't a boss, it's a system-designated forced death zone. The other players gasp as she vanishes into the heat, but she's got an ace up her sleeve. Looks like the invisible carrier code is working. She smirks, slipping past the death sensors completely undetected. She's diving into the deepest reaches of the gorge, where only the original test crews dared to go. But then a sound triggers a memory, and a massive glowing red eye opens in the rock face. How could Xingxian be in such a place? She screams as the nightmare unfolds. Suddenly, she bolts awake in bed, gasping for air. She checks her device, annoyed by the mountain of messages waiting for her. Her blue-haired friend is already online, and a flurry of gift boxes starts exploding around them. But instead of epic loot, the boxes are filled with baby bottles and angel suits. What's the matter with you? Why give me things only kids like? Her friend rants, looking completely done with these gifts. Just then, a notification pings. Plasma cream cake with flowers is online. A silver-haired woman in a sleek black outfit appears, looking like a literal devil. Today, my sister, you'll have to pay it back, she declares dramatically. But the tension breaks instantly when the blue-haired girl just grabs her by the devil tail, forcing the villainess into a pouty chibi pose. They get down to business, discussing the secrets of Fillmore Canyon. Our girl admits she created a new account to stay hidden, but Silverhair is worried. As far as I know, it's not a place for beginners, she warns, her eyes narrowing. She explains that after the vehicle incident, the update package was moved to a secret location. The death mechanism has been changed, she cautions. If you forcefully dive today, your account will be wiped for good. It turns out their enemies are already one step ahead, waiting for her to make her next move. The mysterious beauty warns our girl that the update package was moved after the vehicle incident, and its new location is a total mystery. She leans in, explaining that the canyon's death mechanism has been changed. If our heroine tries a forced dive, her entire account will be wiped clean. Obviously, they're just waiting for you, she warns, clenching her fist as she explains that the higher-ups are already onto her new account. She points a finger at our girl, warning her that getting caught now would just be startling the snake. Our heroine can only nod in agreement as she's told that her enemies won't give her a single chance to turn things around. These are classified, how would you know? Our girl asks, but the beauty just brushes it off, asking if it even matters. Our girl isn't buying the act though, convinced that the mysterious figure helping her is definitely the woman standing right in front of her. The beauty just laughs it off, joking that if her sister wants her that much, she's happy to play the part. The talk turns technical as they discuss the massive space needed for the history update package in the game universe. Our heroine explains that unless they've developed some crazy new transmission bridge tech, moving the data is actually impossible. When asked about the original principle, the beauty just gives a playful you guess with literal stars in her eyes. All right, I can't make up your mind, she laughs, finally giving. She taps a button on her hologram, and suddenly the system announces that a dating scene is being generated. Our girl looks stunning amidst the yellow flowers as she's told their secret dating mission is officially back on. But it's not all fun and games. The beauty explains that without a premium account, reshaping the universe is a pipe dream since all the best gear has been emptied. Sitting on a park bench, she bluntly points out that our girl doesn't have the financial resources to build a top-tier account on her own. She leans in close, suggesting that while one account might not be enough, a pair of fully achieved couple accounts would definitely do the trick. Our girl tells her to stay out of it, but the beauty insists, saying she wants to repay a favor from back when they were kids. Don't worry, I won't take the opportunity to treat you poorly, everyone is an adult, she says with a smirk. She looks back with a gaze that could melt ice, telling her that nothing else is required. Our heroine is left staring, reminded that this woman is over a decade older than her and still playing these high-stakes mind games. Don't make trouble in the game again. Our girl shouts as her chibi self gets worked up, but the beauty just winks and says, let's do it now. She leaves with a dramatic, heart-filled pose, leaving our poor heroine absolutely exhausted by her flirtatious antics. Inside the elevator, our girl is busy listening to some serious ego-stroking through her earpiece. The voice on the other end is gushing about how they didn't expect her to be so young, but they couldn't be more proud of her work. Zioshi, you are now the savior of this industry, the voice declares, making it clear she's a total powerhouse. But the professional vibes die the second the doors open and she hears a familiar voice call out, sister. It's her younger sibling, and she is not happy about being left waiting in the hallway. As they head inside, the younger sister starts grilling her about her work-life balance and whether her company is dragging her out to socialize late into the night. But then she takes a good look around the fancy apartment and her jaw hits the floor. The monthly rent here is at least 60 or 70,000, right? She gasps, her eyes practically turning into dollar signs. Our girl tries to play it cool, waving off the concern, but then she drops the real number. It's almost 50,000. The younger sister's soul practically leaves her body at that price tag, her head spinning as she wonders how anyone can afford to live like this. While she's being teased about her parents worrying, our heroine gets a soft look in her eyes. I also don't want to live alone, she admits with a small mysterious smile. Meanwhile, across town, our other leading lady with the blue hair is drying off after a shower when her phone pings. It's a message that starts off sweet. Do you have time tomorrow? I want to see you. But before she can even blush, a second message pops up screaming, who the F*** are you? Talk about a mood killer. Confused, she watches as the rude message is immediately retracted. A follow-up arrives quickly, telling her to ignore the mistake and promising that a car will be sent to pick her up tomorrow. She sighs, realizing someone must have snatched the phone to reply without permission. Definitely the work of a little devil. The next day, she pulls into the parking lot of the massive Pengpai Plaza. She confirms her arrival on the car's dash, stepping out into a world of high-tech wonder. The plaza is decked out with massive 4D screens that make it feel like she's walking through the stars. 4D screens are already so mature, she notes, impressed by the display. But in the middle of the bustling crowd, her heart skips a beat when she spots a familiar face. Oh, it's her. She tries to get a better look, but our first heroine is already being distracted by a guy waving her over. I can't find it, it's all right. Let's go, she tells her companion, walking away before a reunion can even happen. Liu Feng, a former employee with a major chip on his shoulder, is already planning to cause trouble as he leads his group through the hall. He's bragging about how they can catch some stars if they just start kicking in doors, clearly looking for a fight. Inside one of the private rooms, the drinks are flowing and the mood is light. Suddenly, one of the girls bursts back in from the hall, her eyes wide with excitement. Guess who I saw in the bathroom just now? She chirps. Before anyone can even guess, she drops the bombshell. I saw Xu Youyan. While she's fangirling, Liu Feng is outside stewing in his own bitterness. He's ranting about madmen using loopholes to make money, and his face is twisted with pure malice. He can't believe his luck when he realizes his old rival is nearby. He sneers about how his old colleague almost ended up in the game, which is total code for prison. I thought she'd become a rat crossing the street after that vehicle incident. He mocks, his voice dripping with venom. He raises his bottle, claiming he'll look after her for old time's sake. But we all know this creep is just looking for a way to twist the knife. Meanwhile, in room number 6, our girl is actually having a nice time for once. She raises a glass with her team, the atmosphere warm and supportive. Our blue-haired goddess, Xu Youyan, is actually smiling as she talks to them about love and training. Her staff looks a bit dazed by the sudden deep talk, their chibai faces perfectly capturing the wait what vibe. She just laughs it off, telling them not to feel any pressure. But the peace is shattered when the door is practically kicked off its hinges. Goddess, long time no see. A voice booms and in walks the human equivalent of a grease stain, Liu Feng. He's clearly had a few too many and is acting like he owns the place, holding up a glass as if they're best friends. Xu Youyan doesn't even blink, staring at him with a look that could freeze the sun. Liu Feng isn't taking the hint, though, and demands his lackey come over to meet the goddess, who supposedly made them who they are today. The poor lackey Ziojiang is sweating bullets, stammering about how her kindness is always in his heart. In the background, her staff is watching this train wreck with pure dread. Xu Youyan remains an ice queen, her gaze sharp and unwavering. Liu Feng decides to go for the jugular, bringing up how she was resolutely kicked out of the company and mentioning that mysterious vehicle incident again just to humiliate her. The young staff members are absolutely terrified, realizing they're caught in the middle of a high-stakes grudge match. Liu Feng leans in close, his breath probably smelling like cheap booze and regret. What should be yours is yours, don't be greedy, he warns, acting like he's the one with the moral high ground. He continues his power trip, claiming that people are still bearing the weight of her sins. He gets right in her face, whispering a dark threat that life inside will be very difficult for her. One of the girls is already reaching for her phone, ready to call the police before things get physical. But our girl, she's as cool as a cucumber, slowly finishing her drink while he rants. She adjusts her sleeve, looking completely bored by his drama. She sets her empty cup down and looks him dead in the eye. Thank you, she says with a chillingly polite smile. Oh, she's definitely got a plan, and Liu Feng has no idea what's about to hit him. A sleek sports car tears through the city night, the engine roaring as it pushes the limits of the speed limit. I don't see you for a hot minute, and this is what your driving skills have become. Our girl's friend quips while clinging to her seat for dear life. The tension in the car is thick as they worry about Yaoyun's mental state after the recent drama. Yaoyun isn't as fragile as you think, the driver says, but the passenger isn't convinced, noting that if something happened to her while she's alone, there would be no one there to help. We jump back to 30 minutes earlier, where the girls are desperately ringing Yaoyun's doorbell to no avail. She's not home, is she? They realize their concern only growing as the silence from the house stretches on. Shi Yue notes that Yaoyun has been a total hermit lately, barely leaving her house unless she's physically dragged out. They wonder if she's just at a nearby supermarket, but given her homebody nature, it's unlikely she'd head out for no reason. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off for Shi Yue as she realizes exactly where their missing friend went. "I know where she's gone," she says firmly. The tires screech against the pavement as she pulls a sharp U-turn, determined to find her. Shi Yue doesn't even need to ask anymore. She knows her friend's habits better than anyone. And where do you find a stressed-out gamer in the middle of the night? At the local web cafe, of course. Our girl Yaoyun is finally relaxing, letting out a massive stretch after hours of grinding. Much better now, she sighs, feeling the weight of the day's insults finally lifting. She tries to play it cool, telling herself she shouldn't be bothered by the humiliation, but we all know it stung. "Whatever, let's look forwards and keep the yapping dog behind us," she declares, diving back into her game to level up her gear. Little does she know, her two friends have successfully tracked her down and are literally peeking over the partition like adorable stalkers. Realizing Yaoyun is just fine, Shi Yue tells her companion to head home first so she can handle this solo. Inside the game world, Yaoyun's avatar is decked out in a high-tech sci-fi suit, mining away in the dark. Something feels off. Why is it so quiet? She mutters, her gamer instincts tingling. Suddenly, the ground shakes and she realizes she's in for a world of hurt. Not again, she gasps as a massive, terrifying merman boss emerges from the depths with a roar that echoes through the cavern. Our girl scrambles to find cover as the beast begins its devastating attack. She checks her tech, sweating as the boss prepares to unleash a wave of destruction. The merman slams his trident down, sending bolts of lightning dancing across the room. But wait, another player has wandered into the line of fire, and they are absolutely not prepared for the shock of a lifetime. "Kayeta," the random player screams as they get absolutely fried by the boss's lightning attack. Back in the real world, Yaoyun is cackling like a true villainess at her screen. Hey, this is what you get for attracting mobs." She laughs, finding pure joy in someone else's digital misfortune. The petty revenge works wonders for her stress levels, and she feels refreshed enough to get back to work. Watching from the shadows, Shi Yue can't help but smile, realizing that seeing Yaoyun happy was worth making a fool of herself to find her. Our girl is hard at work when her phone starts buzzing with a call from home. It's her aunt, and the tone of her voice immediately sends red flags flying. "Are you free to make a trip back home?" she asks, and Yaoyun's heart drops. She knows her family wouldn't call like this for no reason. "What happened to my dad?" she demands, but her aunt won't give her a straight answer, telling her she'll find out when she arrives. Cutting to the hospital, we find her father trying to play it cool despite being covered in bandages. "I didn't have that much to drink, I just somehow accidentally twisted my wrist," he claims, but the bandage on his head suggests it was a bit more than a clumsy stumble. He looks like he's been through the ringer, yet he's still trying to smile for his daughter. He tells her not to listen to her aunt's nagging and insists she should head back to the city soon. But our heroine isn't buying the "I'm fine" act. As she sits by his side, the weight of the situation hits her, and she can't stop the tears from welling up. There's a heavy, heartbreaking silence as she wipes her eyes, the distance between them feeling more painful than any physical injury. She finally chokes out the truth, "I also miss Mama Lat." Seeing her father so fragile makes her realize what's truly important, and while she's peeling fruit, she drops a bombshell. "I'll move back here to spend more time with you," she declares. Her dad nearly jumps out of his hospital bed in shock. "No," he shouts, "you deserve more than this small city." He reminds her that she's still young and has a whole career ahead of her, but Yaoyun is determined to sacrifice her ambitions for him. She argues that she can just do her art from home and save on rent. She gives him a gentle smile, holding his hand as she explains that being by his side is what matters most. However, her father refuses to let her settle for an ordinary life. "For you are the furthest thing from that, my child," he says, his voice full of pride. He reaches out to pat her head, calling her by name. He reminds her that she once changed the world and that she's destined for even greater things. Our girl tries to laugh it off, saying he's being a bit dramatic, but then the conversation takes a serious turn. She asks him if he remembers what he told her before they started working on the game, Recon. We get a glimpse into the dark side of the tech world. It turns out the holographic crystals used in the game connect directly to the brain's neurons. Her father, a brilliant researcher, realized the terrifying potential for abuse. He wondered if players would even know if someone was stealing information directly from their brains. Yaoyun took his warnings to heart and submitted a report to the board, which led to a mandatory supervision program. But a company called Squall wanted to bypass those safety measures to harvest data directly from players. Yaoyun and her father had been secretly collecting evidence to expose them. She suspects they've been watching her ever since she hacked their intranet. After she was arrested for 2 weeks, all their hard-earned evidence was conveniently destroyed, and the transmission platforms were moved to parts unknown. Her dad looks her in the eye, asking the ultimate question, would you truly be content with your decision? Looking at the fire in her eyes, we already know the answer. No, I wouldn't, she says, the flame of her ambition reignited. Rain is pouring down as our girl struggles through the crowd at the station. It's a total nightmare out here, and she's starting to lose hope of ever catching a ride in this mess. Can I even get a cab in this weather? She sighs, looking absolutely drained. She checks her phone only to find the queue for a taxi is miles long. Suddenly, someone nearly crashes right into her. Before she can even stumble, a hand reaches out to steady her. It's Shi Yue, looking as cool and collected as ever. She doesn't miss a beat before immediately teasing our heroine, saying, "I can't believe you ever thought of becoming an esports player with your reaction speed." Our girl isn't taking that insult lying down. "What the heck, my reaction was top-notch when I was your age." She snaps back. Shi Yue just gives a playful smirk, pointing out that since they're 11 years apart, they're basically from different generations. Shi Yue grabs the heavy suitcase like it's made of feathers and simply says, "Let's go, I'll take you home." Our girl pulls a face, looking a bit skeptical of this sudden act of chivalry. Shi Yue keeps the banter high energy, joking that when she was hitting home runs on the playing field, our heroine hadn't even learned how to walk yet. Oh, tilde is all our girl can manage as they head toward the car. As they walk, Shi Yue brings up a 5-star review and asks if she thinks she's a character from an old comic like Saint Seiya. Our heroine is genuinely stunned. "No way, you're too young to have read it," she says, unable to believe they share the same niche interests. But then she notices something. Shi Yue's hand is bruised. She realizes that Shi Yue must have blocked that man's elbow earlier to protect her. Trying to play it off, Shi Yue mentions she's starving and offers to buy dinner. She claims it's just because she's her friend's sister and she owes her a welcome back meal. Our girl gives a little smile, asking, "That's why you're buying me dinner?" Shi Yue admits that's only part of the reason. After a heavy moment of silence, our heroine finally decides to cave. "I accept your suggestion," she says, finally agreeing to their partnership. Shi Yue looks over curious. "What made you change your mind?" she asks. Our girl just looks her in the eye and says, "Desperate times call for desperate measures." When Shi Yue questions if she's really that desperate, she deadpans, I'm desperately poor." Shi Yue laughs and agrees to the deal but sets a strict budget, telling her she can pick any restaurant as long as it's under 1,000 per person. Our heroine isn't picky at all and tells Shi Yue to just choose the place herself. "How low maintenance?" Shi Yue chuckles as they drop off their tag-along at the station. Our girl finally makes it home, slamming the door and greeting her dog, Shuang, who's clearly been waiting for his dinner. She's exhausted but can't stop thinking about that brat Shi Yue. One minute the girl is sensible, and the next, she's so naughty you just want to hit her, but then she shows a tactful side that makes it impossible to actually stay mad. While she's busy petting her pup and remembering that Shi Yue was the one who found him, her phone dings with a message. "When I get home, meet me in the secret chamber," the text reads, and you just know Shi Yue is up to something. Our heroine logs in, and the system immediately starts generating a dating scene, surrounding her with a rush of digital water. She finds herself standing in a breathtaking underwater world, looking up at schools of fish and glowing jellyfish. "Wow, I see sharks over there," she exclaims, totally mesmerized by the view. But the real view is standing right next to her. Shi Yue is waiting there, rocking a silver-haired vampire look that is honestly a total serve. Shi Yue explains that this massive public space is modeled after the Titanic, where they had their first blind date, and it can hold 200,000 players at once. She's got her eyes on the prize, the secret chamber's first ever tournament. Besides becoming the first couple to unlock all achievements, we can also get unique dating scenes and premium skins. Shi Yue says, noting that those skins alone are worth a fortune. Suddenly, a tiny fairy guide flutters into view to explain the tournament themes: adventure, horror, and romance. Our girl is leaning toward a nice, normal romance session, but Shi Yue has other plans. "Horror, of course," she shouts with a mischievous glint in her eyes. Our heroine isn't buying the midnight horror vibe for a second, but before she can argue, Shi Yue tries to pull a fast one. I'm sleepy, I'm going offline. Bye," she says, acting like she's suddenly exhausted. "Come back, can you get any more obvious with your objective?" Our girl yells, but Shi Yue just leans in close. Her voice drops as she whispers, "I've always made my objective very clear." She gets right into our heroine's personal space, teasing her about being a heart stealer who doesn't care for the hearts she takes. Our girl is blushing hard, her heart doing backflips until she catches a specific scent in the air. "Wait a minute, that smell, it's the vampire outfit buff." Our heroine realizes the dirty truth. Shi Yue isn't just naturally charming right now, her outfit is pumping out a literal aphrodisiac. Oh, Shi Yue screams as our girl immediately grabs her by the ear and starts twisting. "You'd better take off that outfit before I twist your ear off." She fumes, realizes she's been tricked into being flustered. Shi Yue pouts, trying to defend herself by saying the buff was clearly listed in the store description. "You had fun too, didn't you? I wasn't the one who made you write that 5-star review," she teases. "That is the final straw. If you bring up that review again, I'll storm your house right now and beat you up." Our girl screams, her face turning a bright shade of done with this. Shi Yue just laughs it off, telling her she'll leave a trail of flowers to her doorstep so she doesn't get lost. She even tries to make a rhyme out of it, but our girl has had enough of the flirting and the cheats. logging off immediately and leaving a confused vampire behind. Our girl refuses to go offline just because her rival has a fancy outfit buff. She starts digging through the store, determined to find something even better to level the playing field. Unfortunately, the prices are absolutely criminal, and the only thing she can actually afford is the one free outfit available. She looks at the screen with pure disgust, but she's desperate for revenge. Ugly, but if it works, it works. I just needed to get payback, she mutters, slamming the confirm button. Suddenly, a massive shockwave rocks the area, sending dust flying everywhere. What's that? Is someone else doing the quest too? The other players wonder as they shield their eyes. Out of the smoke emerges a figure that can only be described as a nightmare from a classic novel. It's a character dressed as Xu Beiji, complete with a pig head and a massive rake. Everyone is stunned, unable to believe someone actually equipped this hideous outfit. Even the silver-haired girl can only stare in disbelief at the round belly poking out of the costume. Xu Beiji, I can't believe someone really used that outfit, she exclaims before realizing, wait, is that you? Before she can get an answer, the pig hero leaps into the air with a massive jump. With a ferocious roar, she brings the rake down with everything she's got. The silver-haired girl barely has time to look up as the attack descends. A massive boom echoes through the map as the ground shatters. Later that night, the silver-haired girl sits under the stars, finally catching her breath. She pulls up her system interface to check the aquarium channel preview. She sees a recording of the pig warrior being hauled off by the authorities and starts absolutely losing it. She rolls around on the ground, laughing her head off at the absurdity of it all. I should go to bed, she giggles. I still have to bail her out tomorrow. Meanwhile, our poor heroine is stuck in the game's detention center, crying over her life choices. Her rap sheet is hilarious: murder of innocent people and use of force in public, resulting in 12 hours of forced online labor. When they meet up later, the blue-haired girl tries to play it cool despite the loud snoring coming from her avatar. That's not me, she insists, but the silver-haired girl isn't buying it. Nope, I just accidentally asked, she lies, but her friend just calls her childish. See you in the secret chamber at 8 tonight, the silver-haired girl says. Get ready for the second phase of the dating scene. The system notification pops up, announcing they are entering an adventure-themed dating scene for the tournament. There's a catch: they can only use weapons found within the scene itself. Our girl is worried about fighting monsters, but the silver-haired girl, now rocking a sexy cat ear outfit, just winks. Trust me, as a reliable partner, I'll have you know that some scenes with monsters are easier than those without, she warns. The scene establishes, and the blue-haired girl wakes up in a high-end office. She looks around the luxury penthouse, wondering where the adventure is. Her hand brushes against something soft on the couch. This feels like, she starts to say, but a sharp ouch stops her cold. She looks down to see a disheveled woman looking up at her with teary eyes. Our girl's jaw hits the floor as she realizes what kind of dating scene they've been dropped into. What's wrong with this scene? She screams, I thought we signed up for an adventure, not whatever the hell this is. Our girl is absolutely losing it, wondering what kind of mess she stumbled into because this definitely doesn't feel like the adventure she signed up for. Shi Yue glares up, demandingly asking, how can you use my body to hoist yourself up? Xu Youyan can only offer a sheepish apology, scratching her head as she realizes how awkward the situation has become. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife as Youyan lingers for a moment, before finally deciding to make a break for it and head toward the door. As she reaches for the handle, but before she can escape, she turns back to call out Shi Yue's name. Our poor heroine is busy trying to pull her hair back, but there's a major problem. Her buttons have been completely ripped off in the chaos. Xu Youyan, you're a jerk, she huffs, looking like a total mess. Youyan isn't taking that lying down and shouts back that Shi Yue was already looking like a disaster before she even arrived. Shi Yue just sighs and beckons her over with a smirk. Youyan's face turns bright red as she realizes she can't just leave her like that. She starts walking back, shedding her own jacket as she goes. In a surprisingly smooth move, she drapes the coat over Shi Yue's shoulders to cover her up. Shi Yue can't help but tease her, noting how nice she's being despite claiming to hate her. Youyan just looks away, grumbling that she simply can't let her walk around looking like a wardrobe malfunction waiting to happen. But the sweet moment is cut short by a violent rumble that shakes the entire building. Dust and debris start falling from the ceiling as Youyan screams at her to snap out of it. She frantically tells Shi Yue to find something to use as a weapon, but Shi Yue realizes the danger is way beyond a simple fight. Look outside, she cries as a massive explosion rocks the sky. This isn't just a tremor, it's a magnitude 9.0 earthquake turning the city into a death trap. Youyan screams for them to get out, telling Shi Yue to use her wings to fly them to safety. But before she can even finish her sentence, the floor beneath them vanishes. Youyan watches in absolute horror as Shi Yue plummets into the dark abyss below. She reaches out over the jagged edge of the floor, but it's too late. Shi Yue is gone. Suddenly, a cold system notification pings. Your teammate has died. Wait, what? It turns out they were in a high-stakes simulation. Back in the digital lobby, a very much alive Shi Yue admits she got totally careless. Youyan is fuming, but Shi Yue explains that the secret chamber is designed to eliminate mediocre players by overlapping imported scenes. She's not giving up though and declares she's ready to jump back in. The simulation resets, and once again, the floor begins to crumble. Yao Yuan braces herself for another game over, thinking they've failed again. But she realizes she hasn't been kicked out of the scene yet, which means Shi Yue is still in the game. A smirk plays on Yao Yuan's lips as she realizes things are about to get interesting. Suddenly, the air is sliced by a massive swoosh. Shi Yue appears out of the smoke, sporting a pair of badass demon wings and reaching out a hand. "Come on, I'll get you out of here," she shouts, sweeping Yao Yuan off her feet and soaring into the sky. Finally, our girls are making their grand escape together. Buildings are crumbling as our girls barely escape a massive crash. A billboard comes flying down like a death trap, and the situation looks dire. "The billboard," she screams as a massive boom echoes through the chaos, engulfing everything in smoke. Wait, what's actually going on here? It turns out this entire disaster is a simulated scene from a movie called Tokyo Earthquake. Our girl complains that in this scenario, they're just supporting characters who are destined to die early. Main characters always have the upper hand, she notes, deciding they need a better plan if they want to make it out unscathed. They track down Section Chief Morita, who is hilariously napping in his office while the world literally falls apart around him. A sudden splash of water wakes him up to a total nightmare. "Get up, there's an earthquake." Our girl screams, dragging him by his collar as the floor begins to disintegrate. The ground is cracking right under their feet and they have seconds to move. "The collapse is getting worse, let's go," she commands as debris rains down on them. But there's a massive gap in the floor with fire raging in the depths below. The chief completely freezes up, whimpering, I can't, I'm afraid of heights." Our girl has zero patience for his cowardice, shouting, "Hurry up, do you want to die?" Our brown-haired beauty asks if he knows the way to the capsule aircraft, and once he confirms, she gives him a chillingly calm look. "Good, close your eyes," she says. Before the poor guy can even ask why, she sends him flying across the chasm with a brutal kick. He lands like a sack of potatoes on the other side, gasping, "I made it." Activating her special cat ears to boost her agility and strength, our girl grabs her partner and prepares for the jump. She sticks the landing perfectly, holding her girl in a romantic princess carry while the building groans behind them. "We have to follow in Morita's footsteps next," she says as the chief finally starts to cooperate. They race through the burning ruins of the city, dodging flames at every turn. They finally reach the capsule aircraft, but there's a major design flaw. It's only big enough for 2 people. This forces our girl into a super awkward and exhausting horse stance just to fit inside the cramped space. "When will he finish loading? I can't hold on much longer." She groans, her muscles screaming as the ship preps for flight. As they blast off into the sky, the life-or-death tension turns into a total blushfest. Her partner notices her flustered face and teases, "Your ears are red, are you shy or tired?" Snuggling up close for the ride of their lives, she whispers, "Sit tight, I'll protect you." And just like that, they've survived the unthinkable. The city is literally going up in flames as chaos erupts everywhere. Amidst the destruction, Morita drops a bombshell, telling the girls he can't stay with them because he has to find his ex-wife. Shi Yue is skeptical, wondering why on earth he's looking for an ex during an apocalypse. But Morita is resolute. Even if she hates him, he can't let her die because she can only keep hating him if she's actually alive. This hits our girl Xu Youyan right in the feels as she realizes she has an ex-wife too. As she clings to Shi Yue, her mind starts wandering to the past, wondering if her own ex ever thinks about her. She looks at their hands and wonders, if the roles were reversed and her ex was in danger, would she be as brave as Morita? Would she really be willing to risk her own life just to save a ghost from her past? The heavy atmosphere is immediately shattered by a system notification. They need to reach the Mount Takao cable car station to clear the level. Suddenly, a massive, red-eyed gorilla lets out a deafening roar, and Shi Yue is like, "Excuse me, did you import this nightmare into the scene?" Xu Youyan is just as confused because this monster definitely wasn't in her plans, and now they have to figure out how to sneak past it. The station entrance is right there, but that beast is guarding it like a final boss. The girls realize all they have is a letter opener from the office, which is basically like bringing a toothpick to a tank fight. Xu Youyan warns that the plan is way too risky, but they don't have a choice, it's now or never. "Now's our chance, run," she shouts as they make a desperate break for it. They sprint through the rubble, hearts pounding as the monster stays distracted for a split second. They almost make it to the station, feeling a brief moment of relief. But then a sickening crash echoes through the air. Shi Yue is sent flying to the ground with a brutal thud. "Shi Yue," Xu Youyan screams, her heart dropping into her stomach. She looks up to see the massive shadow of the monster looming over them like a death sentence. Shi Yue tries to play it cool, saying she's okay, but the massive bruise on her back says otherwise. Xu Youyan's eyes turn cold. She realizes they have to kill this thing if they want any hope of clearing the level. She drops her bag and prepares for the impossible. The gorilla huffs, towering over her with pure malice. "Get inside the cable car, Shi Yue," she commands, standing her ground. Shi Yue can only watch in shock as our girl prepares to take on a titan alone. The monster roars, and Xu Youyan screams for Shi Yue to run while she draws the beast's attention. She's moving like a blur, dodging massive swipes that shatter the ground beneath her. With a burst of adrenaline, she lunges forward. She's actually doing it. She's taking on King Kong with nothing but a letter opener and pure spite. She leaps onto the monster's head, landing hits that actually seem to be doing something. "Idiot, I'll kill you the way you deserve," she yells, looking absolutely feral. Shi Yue is watching from the sidelines, terrified that a tiny letter opener won't be enough to finish the job. But Xu Youyan finds a weak spot and stabs downward with everything she's got. The monster lets out a final, agonizing roar as red energy pulses through its body. "Xu Youyan," Shi Yue screams as the beast begins to disintegrate into a bloody explosion. The whole area is engulfed in a dark, violent mist. Xu Youyan sprints through the gore, yelling at Shi Yue to get in because the monster is about to blow. They dive for the cable car just as a massive spray of blood splatters against the glass. Shi Yue catches Xu Youyan in her arms, both of them collapsing as the station shakes. They hit the floor hard, but something is wrong. Xu Youyan looks up, gasping, "Shi Yue, did you block that for me?" She looks down to see Shi Yue unconscious, her back torn open from shielding her from the blast. Blood sprays everywhere as a body hits the floor with a heavy thud. Our girl Xu Youyan realizes Shi Yue took the hit for her. "Did you block that for me?" she asks, her voice trembling as she holds her wounded companion. To get their strength back, Xu Youyan pulls out a recovery potion that looks suspiciously like a baby bottle. "Hey, it's a game item, don't judge." As she chugs it down, a terrifying green snake lady spirit looms over them with a wicked, bloody grin. "Can I return the favor for once? Stop looking so fierce," our heroine thinks, trying to keep her cool while the monster hovers mere inches away. They both know they can't win this fight head-on, so the only option is a tactical retreat. Xu Youyan spots the control room at the end of the carriage. If they can reach the backup power, they might just clear this level. "Wait for my signal," she commands, preparing to bolt. 1, 2, 3, run, she screams, and the two of them sprint for their lives. But the snake lady isn't letting them go that easily, lunging forward with her fangs bared and a terrifying hiss. In a move of pure genius, Xu Youyan shoves the bottle right into the monster's mouth to distract her. Before the snake can even process what happened, our girl throws a black bag over her head and ties it tight. Talk about a blind date, Shi Yue can't help but laugh at the ridiculous sight of the bagged monster. "That was awesome, Xu Youyan," she cheers, but our girl isn't in the mood for jokes. "Don't laugh, run," she yells as they book it down the hallway. They finally reach the control room and slam the door shut. "Block the door, Shi Yue, I'll find the power switch," Xu Youyan shouts. As they huff and puff against the door, Shi Yue playfully asks if she's scared of snakes, to which our girl admits, a little. She finally finds the panel and flips the switch to get the cable car moving again. But just as she thinks they're safe, Shi Yue whispers for her to look outside. "What's outside?" she asks, turning toward the window. Surprise, there's a second, even bigger snake sister waiting for them. "There they are, sis," she cries out, pointing right at them. Before they can react, a massive wave of water crashes against the glass. "Baldies, give me back my husband," the monster shrieks as the water level rises. "Excuse me, who are you calling a baldy?" Suddenly, the scene shifts and Xu Youyan bolts upright in her own bed. Phew, it was just the game, but man, that drowning sensation felt way too real. She sighs, feeling like she's getting too old for these high-stress VR sessions. Just then, her phone buzzes with a video call. It's her gaming partner, looking way too energetic for someone who just fought snake monsters. "Are you okay?" she asks, noticing our girl looks a bit worn out. When she mentions she's a total gym rat who works out all the time, Xu Youyan feels a sudden wave of motivation. "I'll sign up for gym membership tomorrow," she vows, determined to get strong enough to finally clear that level. While our girl is trying to get her sweat on at the gym, the news breaks that Liu Feng, the founder of Oi's, has been hauled off in handcuffs for massive fraud. The guy is absolutely losing it on camera, screaming for the reporters to stop filming while the cops drag him away. Our heroine watches with a sharp eye, noting that he really did find himself a powerful backer in Encount, the mysterious company behind that secret chamber. She's left wondering just how deep the rabbit hole goes with this Encount organization. Meanwhile, the man of the hour is still throwing a temper tantrum, threatening to break cameras as he's shoved into a police car. Honestly, he's lucky he's only going to jail given the enemies he's made. Our girl Shi Yue is chilling in the back of a car, looking totally unbothered while discussing the takedown. It turns out Liu Feng was a total piece of work. Not only was he a fraud, but he was cheating on his rich wife and secretly stealing her property. Shi Yue's squad is top tier. We've got her university roommate, a legendary hacker who helped dig up the dirt. Then there's No Cats, a private investigator who tracked Liu Feng's every move and sent the evidence of his infidelity straight to his wife. Talk about girl power. These ladies literally orchestrated his downfall while he was busy playing house with his mistress. Shi Yue keeps her personal motives a secret, simply promising to buy the girls a victory dinner later. Back at the gym, someone is tiptoeing around like a cartoon villain. Our poor heroine steps onto the scale and nearly has a heart attack when it reads 65 kilograms. "No way is this scale broken," she shrieks, only to hear a familiar giggle behind her. It's Shi Yue, who's been using her foot to mess with the reading the entire time. "Take your foot away, you're so childish." Our girl fumed while Shi Yue just grinned, claiming they must be fated to meet like this. Our heroine isn't buying the fate excuse, especially when it involves being pranked during a weigh-in. They decide to head down to the pool to relax, but there's a slight problem. Our girl forgot her swimsuit. Shi Yue, being the ultimate wingwoman, offers her a spare one she hasn't worn yet, claiming the gym's shop prices are a total ripoff. However, the real panic sets in when our heroine realizes this gym's dressing room is an open concept with 0 cubicles. Shi Yue notices her hesitation and offers to wait outside so she can change in peace. Our girl is stunned, thinking it's unusually obedient of her to just walk away like that. She calls out to Xu Yu one last time, and in her mind, she sees the girl looking like a loyal, adorable pup. She decides to be direct and asks, "You work at Count, don't you? Or more accurately, you're the founder." Xu Yu just laughs it off with a wink, saying if she were that successful, she'd be at a gym with private changing rooms. Our heroine doesn't push it, instead offering a soft, genuine thank you that catches Xu Yu off guard. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife as they share a long, meaningful look. But our girl quickly regains her composure and shoves the blushing Shi Yu out the door so she can finally change. Left alone in the hallway, Shi Yu takes a deep breath, clutching her chest as her heart does backflips. It looks like our cool and collected founder might finally be catching some real feelings. Our girl is taking a breather at the pool, but even mid-splash, she's already back on her grind. She's feeling totally beat after just 30 minutes, realizing her stamina needs a serious buff if she's going to survive the next round. As she soaks, she starts picking her brain for a way to deal with the notorious green and white snakes. It turns out these bosses are straight out of a classic movie that gave her nightmares when she was a kid. "It was so scary that it traumatized me," she exclaims, recalling how the green snake would silently slide down from the roof to eat people whole. Her partner thinks it wasn't that bad, but our girl isn't taking any chances. They can't just smash through this like the gorilla fight, especially since the game specifically targets players rocking expensive outfits. She starts connecting the dots, remembering the iconic scene where the entire temple was flooded. Suddenly, the light bulb finally flickers on. "I got it," she shouts, but she's playing her cards close to her chest, promising to explain the master plan once they're back in the virtual world. Before they part ways, she can't help but throw a little shade at her friend's body-scanned avatar. "I just noticed your little trick," she snickers, calling her out for amplifying certain assets in the game. Her friend just laughs it off, telling her to get home safe because they've got a big day ahead. Flash forward 2 days, and it's time to enter the secret chamber. Our girl isn't here to play dress up. She tells her partner to stop wasting time and pick a look that boosts agility. With everyone locked and loaded, the game starts generating the new stage. The stakes are through the roof. If the white snake triggers the flood at Jinshin Temple, it's game over. They're off like a shot, sprinting through the level. They realize that since they ran into the green snake the second they boarded the cable car, their objective must be right along this path. But the horror isn't waiting around. A terrifying snake woman smashes through the glass, her fangs dripping with malice. "Don't let her in," she yells as they barely dodge the strike. They push their bodies to the limit, heading straight for station number 2. Lungs burning and legs shaking, they finally reach the platform. They take a second to catch their breath, thanking their lucky stars the monster isn't on their tail anymore. But the real gamble is just beginning. They have to find out if the temple is hidden on the mountain and if their target is waiting for them there. "I made it before I died." Ol 999 steps up to Jinshin Temple. Our girl huffs, looking like she's about to meet her maker right then and there. Her friend isn't making it any easier, teasing her about that supposed workout routine she's been bragging about. They finally reach the library, but it's guarded by 2 monks who look like they eat bricks for breakfast. Our cat-eared companion immediately goes for the throat, asking, "Should we kill them first?" "Girl, chill, we are trying to be stealthy here." Our heroine realizes this isn't a hack-and-slash level, it's a test of strategy. They need to find Xu Youyan without getting caught, especially since there are no status bars to help them gauge the enemy's strength, while they're trying to look cute and figure out a plan. Our heroine gives her friend a little heart for being so confident, followed by a playful pinch to the cheek. But the clock is ticking and they need to move fast. They manage to overhear a couple of monks complaining about a massive rat infestation in the kitchen. "The kitchen has been overrun by rats lately," one monk groans, and our girl realizes this is the perfect side quest. She knows they have to finish this task if they ever want to sneak into that library. They keep a low profile, watching the monks from the shadows. Before darting across the temple grounds, they stumble upon a courtyard that looks like a bedroom area. "Let's check it for now," our girl whispers. She isn't looking for a nap though, she's looking for a disguise. She figures if they wear monk robes, they can blend right in. A success, they score some Jinshin Temple robes, and her friend is hyped to have found the perfect cover. Our heroine gets a devious look on her face because she's got a brilliant idea. She can't help but burst out laughing when she sees her friend in a full bald cap and robes. "Laugh all you want," her friend pouts. "When we're done, let's start the plan." Our girl stays back, letting the new monk take the lead. The friend puts on an Oscar-worthy performance, sprinting toward the guards and screaming, "Seniors, I saw those 2 snake spirits at the gate." She really sells it, swearing that the intruders are inhumanly beautiful. The distraction works like a charm, drawing the guards away until only 1 monk is left standing. Screw it, here I go, our girl thinks, pulling out a little bag of squeaking rats. The remaining monk absolutely loses his mind as a wave of rodents swarms the area. Now's my chance, she cries, shouting "Go rats" as she releases the furry chaos. She charges into the library behind the sea of rats, causing a total meltdown for the monks inside. In the middle of the chaos, she finally spots him, Xu Youyan, sitting there all calm and prayerful. "Xu Youyan, your wife," she screams. She's sweating bullets, wondering if her friend is still holding up her end of the bargain. But the situation goes from 0 to 100 real quick. Suddenly, the actual snake spirits burst onto the scene in a swirl of power. "Baldy, give me back my husband," they roared. And just when things couldn't get more intense, a high-ranking monk with a very stern face appears to shut the whole party down.